Welcome to Going Deeper with David Steele, the show that dives into the heart of environmental solutions while literally floating on the source, the ocean. In just a few short minutes, we'll meet with the entrepreneurs and game changers that are making a difference in people's lives through the products and services they provide. Get ready to unplug from the matrix of mediocrity and plug into nature as we discuss the solutions to many of today's biggest challenges. It's time to go deeper.
Good morning, everyone. I say good morning because it's always morning somewhere. And it's morning here right now. We're in this beautiful lagoon area here in Hawaii with my good friend, Ryan Park. And just super stoked. I was so excited about this episode because I've been in solar about 5 years now. I've been passionate about solar for 3 decades now. And Ryan is one of the most knowledgeable people I've met thus far, which is incredible. And today what we want to talk about a few things, but we want to talk about what's possible with solar and storage and in context of Hawaii, but it's actually, similar anywhere in the States. And so, just super stoked to have you here, Ryan.
Thank you.
And we want to do a little bit of a bio. I know that you've been in solar for a number of years now. In our industry, if someone's been in solar more than 5 years, we call them an old grow. I don't know what that makes you. You've been in it how many years now?
A dinosaur that escaped extinction. 23 years, so 2001.
Incredible.
It's been a journey. Still going.
One of the things I want to ask you about is, and I think it will come about, but I want you to tell us about your why, because one of the things that really I got to know about you, besides being an awesome human being, is that you have a big cause and a big reason that you're doing what you're doing. Why don't we start there?
Sure. Yeah, and without the why, obviously it changed a little bit over the years, but the core principle remains the same, and that's what's really kept me going here. Is that so I was born and raised in the Central Valley of California, San Joaquin Valley, literally the armpit of
Yes.
California, and growing up in the summers, it's over 100 degrees basically every day, 110 up at times. It would just get so smoggy, nasty. When I then went on to, and also spending a lot of time in Yosemite, close to Yosemite, we'd go up to Huntington Lake and go to the little Sear Summit and ski in the wintertime. And so the nature and getting outdoors was a huge part of my family, my family there. So loving the outdoors and that. And it's just such a contrast from that to the valley, and so much of it related to car smog and dirty power plants. I mean, just all throughout. And when I went on to college and studied business and thinking about what can I do to make a difference, I knew from a young age I just didn't want to go work and just be a cog in the machine.
Yep.
Wanted to do something that actually, when my life's work and that portion of my work is done, that I can rest knowing that I did what I could. I felt that really, really early. And so while in college and in business thinking about and I wanted to be, I grew up reading, Inc. magazine and all this stuff from really, really early of really idolizing these people that had ideas and visions and executed it and transformed society in their niche. And it was thinking about what could be growing, what's something that could grow and actually make a difference. Stumbled into solar. I mean, really just in reading about it, realizing the sun shines every day. And even on a day like today, here we are in Honolulu. It is raining on us. It's pretty rad. Yeah, this is our day to do this. We're doing it. But just people that live here, those that have been out with their shirt off and the clouds are out, still get sunburned. The sun is still out. It shines every day. If the sun doesn't shine every day, we got a bigger problem here on Earth. And so capturing that sunlight with something that doesn't generate carbon and smog really interested me. And coming from Fresno, where tract housing was growing throughout, all these thousands and thousands of homes throughout the valley with roofs that weren't even being used just bothered me. So it was really then that vision came to play of like, gosh, I want to set out to start a solar company that would put solar panels on roofs. And when I told folks in those early 2000s, I'm in solar, I want to start a solar company, they look at me cross-eyed. They think I want to just heat swimming pools, and I explain no about electricity. So really the why for me is why aren't all our homes, our cars, and our businesses run by the sun? And then beyond that, how things have morphed over the years is like, it just makes sense to pump water with solar, and to grow food with solar. And, more and more indoor farming that's not beholden to power our cars with solar. I mean, when I say grow our food, outdoor farming can be very, very efficient, but it leads to heavy use of water and chemicals and pesticides and soil erosion. And all these things are all interrelated, right? When you can grow indoors, the biggest thing with growing indoors that's a challenge is energy. But if you have ample sunlight and ample solar, you can run cold storage and all that. So I can go on and on, obviously, for hours, but that's my why, is that to truly make a difference, we got to continue to accelerate the adoption of clean energy. And our vision early on at REC was bringing solar mainstreaming, and hence our actually it was just behind the scenes, but that was where
I love that. I remember those days when it was so smoggy. I ran track in community college before going to San Diego State, and we used to hate going up to LA. And you remember when the Clean Air Act came out, and all the companies said, we're going to go broke. You can't make us do that. That's horrible. Yeah. And the entrepreneurs came out and said, yeah, we can do that, and it could be cheaper and better and cleaner. And now you don't have to look at the newspaper and read the index before, the smog index before you go outside.
Go out, change your entire day and all of that. I mean, to add some scrubbers to the the soot stacks of it. The power companies all kicked and screamed or this and that. And why would you make us do that? And look, air has gotten better, but we still have a long way to go.
You first got involved with a company called REC Solar, and you were employee number
4. Or I guess technically, there was 4 of us.
Amazing. And how big did they grow?
Oh, we grew it over 1,000 employees. I mean, we grew to be the largest solar company in California, not the largest in the country, and then ultimately we were acquired by a company called Sunrun before they were publicly traded, and many of my dear friends, went there. I actually did not technically go to Sunrun because I stayed at REC, which had a commercial division, which we ultimately did sell the commercial division to a utility company. That's a whole related and a follow-on story there, but that company and any of those dear friends that I worked with for well over a decade are still in the industry, making some major impact. It's a beautiful thing. It's like growth and train, right? It just continues to blend.
You've been helping homeowners and commercial,
yes,
for 2 decades now.
Over 2 decades.
And how much do you think you've installed?
I mean,
people don't know megawatts. How many homes do you think you might have helped?
Oh gosh, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of homes.
Yes. So thousands of homes.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Hundreds of thousands of homes. For me personally, of the deals that I did, definitely in excess of 100 megawatts. For me, just personally.
Animal.
But my team and much more than that. And then I ended up marrying a woman that is in solar as well. Utility scale is just like another level of it. One project can be the equivalent of thousands of residential homes. They all play their part, and they're all critical. It's all interconnected. Again, you need it all.
Yeah. So we were having a conversation earlier, and by the way, if you're watching this and you see drops, it's because we're sitting in the rain having a conversation with you right now. So there's not a lot we could do about that. So just listen with your heart, and it's all going to be good. There might be some drops on the lenses here, but we were having a conversation earlier, and one of the things that's interesting is that we have this relationship where we've all been using energy all of our life that came from typically a coal plant or typically, some form of dirty energy in some way. And there's a real need, as we all know, to transition to clean energy. It's part of the reason why, there's a 30% federal tax credit now to get homeowners and commercial to start using solar, which is pretty incredible for like the next 9 or 10 years too. And, one of the things that I thought was really super interesting when we were talking is with your background and your wife's background, you kind of know what's going on with the utilities here. And it's, in my mind, it's kind of a microcosm of what's going on everywhere, right? It's an island, so you can wrap your arms around it and go, yeah, there's these 2 power plants or there's this 1 power plant. Right. But it's what we're seeing everywhere. That's right. The utilities, the big utilities are, their fiduciary duty is to shareholders. It's to maximize profit at whatever way possible. Right. And the world is changing. People are getting EVs. We're having climate issues. We're having infrastructure issues. So kind of with that background, what's going on here on this island, and then what's going on in Hawaii in general?
So when you think about the historical way of just utilities being set up, you'd have large power plants, and then you would transmit that energy, at times hundreds of miles to those homes. And by the way, you're losing energy all along those lines the whole way there. There's efficiency losses across the way. You think about, so that's step one, that's centralized power. And you think about computing going from just centralized then to just distributed, and now there's a balance. On the way energy is generated, there's so many reasons for solar in that in a cleaner form of energy, and especially here in Hawaii. So I'll talk a little here on Hawaii. The power plants here were coal and oil. The final coal plant got phased out just over a year ago, just over a month after my Oahu's first solar and large-scale battery storage came online. That was actually my wife's project of development. Wow. It took almost 10 years to get that going. But Hawaii remains very beholden to oil imports and the volatility with it. So you have all these facets around like utility power, and it's boring because you don't think about it. You turn on your light, it works. But where does that energy come from? And historically, it's been, burning coal, burning oil, burning natural gas, which have their byproducts, which are not so favorable. The other side of it is it's volatile. It's not sustainable from an economic perspective, and especially here on Hawaii. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, 2,500 miles basically from any landmass in all directions. If the flow of oil, if we had a natural disaster here, a tsunami comes in, takes out the port, the flow of tankers don't come in for several weeks. They say we have a 2-week supply here. Our lights will start shutting off. Our gas pumps will not run. Right? Can you imagine the mayhem? Right? Water wouldn't pump. Water storage, sewage treatment wouldn't be able to go. I mean, there's so many reasons for adopting energy here locally, with grabbing from the wind, the sun, storing it in batteries, and not being beholden to an import value of fossil fuels.
So what's happening with the utilities here? How is their technology going?
Utilities here. So we have a publicly traded utility here, for profit. That's their duty. They are governed by a public utilities commission, where the utilities would love to charge much more for electricity if they could make more profit, and the Public Utilities Commission are there to basically negotiate with them, to litigate, to set their rates. So it's constantly a game. So here on this island, there's a lot of things going on. So Hawaii Unified, HECO has historically been incredibly powerful monopoly. They have basically gotten their way for decades and decades and decades. They want to build new stuff. They want to build more power plants.
I think that's common with quotes for every utility.
It's not hard to stack these utilities commissions, and it's a theater. It's a theater where they bring up the attorneys and they talk about what they need to charge for electricity on these models, and all these models are gamed, and so it's. The more we can get these externalities out, and the more we just can align utilities with what they should do, which is running the lines, running the power lines, so we become more of a buyer and seller market over that, the better. But here locally, And this is literally the canary in the coal mine that's playing out across the states, and we're seeing it here first. We had a massive natural disaster last year on Maui. Okay, there was fires in Lahaina that burned down all of Lahaina, and there are lawsuits, okay, for the utility, which means that the grid needs to be hardened. The grid needs to become able to shut down faster, more distributed. It needs to be smarter. That is going to be extremely expensive to do those upgrades. Compounding it is that the utilities are like, hey, we need to rebuild, and they want to get guaranteed. They get guaranteed return on investment too, guaranteed profit. And even if they perform terribly, they get to come back to the table the next year and say, these costs were higher than we anticipated. We need money. We need rate recovery. And if you don't give us rate recovery, then stockholders, and the people that lend us money to do this work, and utilities, require a lot of capital, they won't view us as bankable. And so they're going to charge us even more interest, which means you have to charge higher prices for electricity onto the homeowners. We are in a current, I'll call it a death spiral really here, where HECO's credit rating is currently jumping.
Utility.
The utility, HECO, the Hawaiian electric companies, because of things like that Lahaina fire and all the billions of lawsuits pending. Okay, and this happened in California several years ago, where there was wildfires, and PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, declared bankruptcy. And what has since followed out there is the wildfire mitigation, billions of dollars then being passed on to ratepayers. And even though the majority of that is for up in the wildfire areas, but people are having to pay for it down in their area, even if they aren't even related to it. Same thing here in Hawaii. The wildfires are going to raise significant costs. Their borrowing costs are significantly up, and we need to invest big dollars to get our grid ready for what's to come.
So already some of the highest prices.
It is the highest cost power in the United States.
Billions more is needed. So the only thing that we know that is an absolute certainty.
That's right.
Also in California, where I live, is an absolute certainty is the utilities will go up every single year.
That's exactly right.
Every single year.
That's exactly right. And here, 70% of our energy is still generated from fossil fuel. Okay, so it is oil. Now it's oil. There's no more coal. Okay, oil imports. And right now, the national, basically across the nation, the average annual increase on utility rates is somewhere in that 4 to 5% mark. California is higher. Here has been in excess of 10% annually. Now, it's important to note that our rates are the highest in the country and can adjust in 1 month increments, because every single month, 60% of almost 70% of the amount that everyone pays per unit of energy, per kilowatt hour, comes from what is the index price of oil. It's called the Energy Cost Adjustment Fund. And it's literally published every month. You can look it up on Google, type HECO, effective rates, and they publish that out. And we have been in a period the last few years of actually very stable oil prices. Okay, it's been very stable. I know people don't realize it. We go to the pump, paying $5 or whatever state you're in, but oil is sitting around that $75, $85 a barrel. And if you look at geopolitically what's going on right now, OPEC and Russia have just come together and said they're going to continue to cut their amount that they're producing because they are disappointed with the oil price languishing in that 75 to 85. Realize bigger picture politics in play here, down to starting there. And so they're cutting their production. It's simple supply and demand. It'll probably be 6 months to work through the system. We will see oil go over $100 a barrel, and that will directly trickle down to here. When it goes to $100 a barrel, we see a 15%, 20% rate increase, 20% rate increase in the import price of oil will translate to 70% of that to the energy cost here. So if you saw a 10% increase in oil, you're going to see a 7% increase in the electricity price literally the next month here in Hawaii. Okay? And you see that similarly in California. The energy mix in California is more natural gas based. Well, those that are maybe listening here that have ever seen Gasland or those documentaries, fracking is not the solution there either. The externalities and these ponds, the way these companies walk away from it, oh my gosh, come on. This is my why. Oh my gosh.
I want to come back around to something because both being in solar, we can go deep in this part of it. But what I want to say is that the experience that we have is that all utilities, for the most part,
are publicly owned are going to have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders, and prices are always going to go up. The great news is, and the possibility of possibilities is, in the 20 years you've been in this business, we've gone from solar being this is probably neutral. You might save a little bit. Maybe you won't save, but it's the right thing to do, to a point where the panels are much more efficient. Storage actually has become incredible, and people are really wanting to have that independence. They want to have it so that when the utility goes down, and it's not if, it's when the utility goes down, you're still going to be up. And I've seen in my brief career, the price of storage I've seen it get better and get less expensive, and it's the most promising thing. I think this industry is the brightest, most amazing industry to get into. I think that the opportunity is incredible. I think that the amount of jobs in clean energy are only going to go up every year. And the solutions we're seeing are amazing. You and I are working on a proposal for an awesome house on the Big Island, and he's gonna put in a big system and cut his cost of energy down by 50% probably.
Oh, on a per unit basis, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and it gets me really excited because we started with the problem set and where things are and all these challenges and whatnot. And obviously over the 20 plus years that I've been at this, there's been a lot of challenges. Making change from the status quo is hard no matter what you're doing, right? And especially when you're going up against monopolies where they're doing everything that they can to stop it. But when you think about where I began in this industry, I mean, solar panels, we bought just the solar panels for over $3.50 a watt. Wow. Solar panels now, you can buy it 30 cents a watt for some, in the highest qualities, in the 40 or maybe low 50s. I mean, boom. And also those solar panels we were buying for $3.50 a watt when I began, the amount of area you'd need to produce 100 watts with those now produce nearly 400 watts. I mean, and then, the panels themselves is only one part of that energy chain where you have to convert that to AC current, what a house uses, where a solar panel makes DC current. And the best of the best at that time was 88 to 92% in the conversion. We're now at 99% conversion. So that's on the generation side. So over these 20 years, the leaps and bounds in the efficiency of generating electricity from the sun at exponentially lower costs and faster, the things of just how installation, when you think about the basic stuff, how it attaches to the roof and the way the racking comes together and the way they created cool bolts and plug-in pieces that just snap together quickly. It goes on and on. The innovation is beautiful. Now where we are is what you mentioned in storage, because the argument against solar in the past was, it's expensive. It was, okay, it was. And the sale then, or when you talk people, really was more of a sale because the economics weren't as strong. You knew the technology was going to change a lot, so why should I do it? It's the computer analogy, and it was intermittent. If the grid went down when you only had solar panels, it didn't keep your house up. And so the sale back then was exponentially more difficult than it is now. We didn't have a big savings. It wasn't keeping the house up, right? And now with battery storage, that argument that solar is intermittent and it's not, you can't rely on it, is totally out the window. You can keep your house up. With the advancement of EVs and what is happening now, the fact that you can offer fully reliable power, what's happening here in Hawaii as a result of those fires, utilities are shutting the grid down They're shutting the grid down faster when a wind event comes. They're not going to take the risk. Same thing in California.
They're going to more and more.
Yes. Trade winds all the time. And if you're up on ridges, it can rip, right? And when you have these aging power poles that are wood and they're already bending over and they need to replace them with steel and bury them, hence the cost. But so this time we're in now is the most exciting time I've seen in the 20 plus years, where the technology at this place, it is truly a solution. at the home level up to the utility scale level, where they're pairing utility scale, and we're doing it at a fraction of the cost of oil. So let me give just a point. So I mentioned my wife is in utility scale solar, and they bid publicly in these RFPs, requests for proposals from the utility, to sell power to the utility, where the utility will buy the power plants. So published, you can see what does the utility pay currently to when they buy electricity from the fossil plant here, from the oil plants here, and that's what's called their avoided cost. And the current cost at the current price of oil, around $75 a barrel price, is at 20 cents a kilowatt hour. That's what it costs. It's between 20 and 22 cents currently. You can see per kilowatt hour to generate electricity at the power plant, the utility, not running the wires and getting it there and all that. 20 cents.
Wow.
That's why homeowners here pay around 40 to 45 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay. I mean, there's that add up, for all the transmission.
And for reference, in Texas, it might be 10 or 12 cents.
Yes.
That the consumer's paying.
That's right. So but we had to send oil on a ship, right? 2,500 miles to get here. We're a very small grid, and there's a world of inefficiencies, which we don't have time on this one, but if you want, email me and, we can chat, talk more. But to give a reference point, 20 cents a kilowatt hour currently for utility generation from oil here. My wife's projects, and she develops for a company called Clearway Energy. She's the head of development for them, publicly traded company, and that they are bidding to these public RFPs fixed power prices for 20 years to come from solar, with solar and battery storage. That is firm energy, firm power. You can rely on it. At 10 to build the cents, fixed for 20 years. So from day one, when that turns on, it is roughly half of the price of generating currently with oil, without all the externalities and the negative impacts that go on there. And do you think that 10 years from now that generating power from the oil plant is still going to be 20 cents? I mean, do we think oil is going to remain $75 a barrel? We know the answer, right? We know that answer. So it is like, why would you not adopt this as fast as you possibly can? And there's multiple reasons behind there. One of the main reasons is the utility here, they don't get to keep a lot of that profit currently with that lower power price. Thankfully, the Utilities Commission here came up with an innovative solution 2 years ago to incentivize the utility with some bonuses if they bring these utility scale solar plants a lot faster, and it actually got the move. We need to do that across the country. So that's something good that they are doing here. We need to incentivize utilities to make the change. Otherwise, they're going to stay with the same old business model that makes it money. You can hate the player, you can hate the game. You can't hate the player because that's what they're meant to do. We just need to change the script and incentivize utilities to make the change.
Absolutely. And it's so good that we have people like your wife and that company working to make a difference on that side where it has huge impact, because they're doing things that affect a ton of people.
But we have to do it ours. I mean, why it's the most exciting time, we've got the economics here. So I'll give an example of solar here at the residential level. At the residential level here, homeowners paying 40 and 45 cents with a guarantee that their power price is going to be significantly more expensive, 5-10 years. It's not like a homeowner can go to the utility and say, hey, I'd like to negotiate my utility rate here. I'd like to fix this price of power that I'm paying every month here for the next 10 to 20 years. Will you do that? I mean, the utility will laugh at them, right? Just like if the utility said, hey, oil, Saudi Arabia, we'd like to fix our price of oil at $75 a barrel for the next 20 years, and they'd laugh at them, right? That's exactly what we can do here in Hawaii. We go to homeowners and we say, look, you have two options. You can buy this system. It's going to break even, so to speak, in like a 5-year mark, 3 to 6 years, depending on, if you got great sunlight in an area. We have a lot of microclimates here, or, how efficient it is to install in your house, and, how much battery storage you want. There's variables. But, you're looking at a 15 to 30% return on investment if utilities don't even jump up. That's a great return on investment with your cash. Which, in the older days, it was much lower than that, and people would do it more because morally, they were more of those people like, I just want to know my power comes from the sun. But most homeowners here don't buy it with cash. They use other people's money, other people's leverage. Like if you're a real estate person, you know how to use other people's money or other people's money to build businesses. So we do third-party ownership type models, and the economics there is, well, put the system in, the tax credits are taken by the investors. But when you look at, okay, how much are they signing up to pay for that solar over a year, and how many units of energy, how many kilowatt hours they get per year, and the rate that they're getting with these finance solar solutions are 18 to 25 cents a kilowatt hour. Or they could buy from the utility at 40 to 45.
And have it go up every year.
And this 18 to 25 cents here can be fixed or a set escalator per year, which is way lower than where historical rates have gone, for 25 years. And it's fully warranted. If a battery goes down, it gets replaced. And with these solar systems, all come with batteries. Okay, we have a 100% battery attachment here. Okay, we don't do net metering here. That ended a while ago here. The utilities will not take the power back and give equal value for that energy when it goes back on the grid. So you store it here. And storage, in addition to storing it and having it, but so you don't give it to the utility for basically nothing, you have that backup energy. So you're getting power at roughly half the price, fixed, where utility rates are going up, and you have backup power.
Yep.
So it's not a hard sale. It's not a sale. It's an education game and trust, and it's a fun time to be in this industry making a difference.
It is. Yeah, and I tend to want to focus in going deeper with people that are doing things that are for the environment and giving solutions that people can do, to have a better environmental footprint. And one of the things that came up for me when I was looking to get into solar is, what are the other costs of doing business, right? These solar panels didn't grow on a tree. There was no such thing. There is solar farms, but they're not growing solar panels. And so, one of the things that we did is we chose to work with Powur. I know the founders of the company very well, and what Powur's doing that's very, very different is that we have a cause, and our cause is climate change. And so we're doing this, and we're carbon neutral as a company. And real quick, what that means is that there's a cost when we're shipping components to a manufacturer in Texas or a manufacturer in Georgia to create panels. And then there's a cost to create those panels, to transport those panels, to climb on the roof and install them, and those batteries. And so in order to be carbon neutral, we're planting trees. We're doing, all kinds of environmental solutions to offset that cost, so that when the panels actually get on your roof, they're actually making a difference that day, rather than 10 years from now, because it took time to offset the cost that it took to create them. And so the really cool news is that whenever there's a win-win-win, right? Like, you end up getting solar and storage, and you're paying less for it than you're paying now anyway, on a cost that most of the people just assume you pay your utility bills. It's not an option, So now we're able to get solar panels for less money than we're paying now. And they're not free, but you don't have to write a big check to get them installed, right? And so you're paying less, and you're actually making a difference. And we measure every aspect of that, because we want to see. We're a numbers company. We want to see, are we actually making a difference? And almost 20 years ago, I started a Green Chamber of Commerce, first in San Diego, and then the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce. And back then I was thinking, God, if we could just install a megawatt of solar. Like, I was just like, this is my BHAG for San Diego. And, now I'm involved in a company that's had months where we've installed 20 megawatts or more, and the change is just, it's such a positive thing. It's such a great thing. And so, the request or the ask is that if you own a home, or someone that owns a home, and they haven't at least checked it out, there's no obligation. I don't actually even know how to pressure anybody. It's just like, we do these energy savings reports where we're like, show us your utility bill. We'll do all the research, look at your roof and the angles and the sun and everything. And we'll just say, yeah, hey, it doesn't work for your house, or it works great for your house. And here's what it is. And so, kind of that's the thing, is just find out about it. And and then we'll go from there. And what I see in Hawaii is, I look forward to coming to Hawaii in 10 years when we say that we're 100% renewable sources. That's going to be a major thing, because it just seems like it's that way. The people here care about nature. The locals care about it, and even the tourists. That's why we come here. It's the most beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And so, we're going to start doing our part. If you buy a house, you're getting solar and you're getting storage.
Period. It was an important criteria for me as we looked to the house to buy. We've been here now almost 12 years. And that was important to me. It was not just that I looked for a house, also was going to be efficient in how it runs, and obviously making sure every one of those light bulbs are LEDs and not incandescent, burning 100-watt light bulb, or one that's 5 to 7. It's on both sides. It's generation and the consumption efficiency. But right now we do have the highest amount per capita of solar in the country. Yeah, there is.
Really?
Yeah, over 30% of homes here already have solar.
No idea.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, but almost like over 25%, I'd say, of our business currently, and we'll talk about it because I've joined Powur. I got into Powur just over a year ago to bring Powur here to Hawaii, but over 25% of our business is going back to homes that already have solar, because the majority of them here, or almost half of all the solar that's installed in the islands, don't have batteries. Right, so the power goes out. Those panels are now aging, and the technology has improved so much, and so we're adding more panels, adding batteries to it, getting them back to where we're offsetting all their usage. And so we will get to 100% renewable here. I truly believe
that's amazing.
And when you say about the doing good and the company differences, I've been through a lot in this industry, and a lot of companies and a lot of company change, and Powur at its roots, not being beholden to the same game of C corporations, of just focused on profit, and to be a B corporation that's for, profit and purpose is really important to me, personally, of a company to get behind. And my dear friend Ethan Miller, that we built REC together. And he was always on operations, and I was more on the sales and business development side. He is the current COO at Powur, and when he called me up and said we're evaluating Hawaii, looking for builders to align with, local builders, we stimulate local jobs, which is so needed out here, in the trades and the workforce and that, and looking at Powur, what Powur has in here from the beginning of saying we're more than just profit, that permeates through the culture of what's being built here. So I'm late to the game in Powur. I was early to the game in solar, late to the game in Powur, but really when you think about it, and only 5% of homes nationwide have gone solar. Well, actually the beginning, if you really think about it, even though Powur is not a small company. It is the fastest growing solar company in the industry. And it just has that feel of it truly is just the beginning, because what the platform, it's really innovative. This industry having so many lessons learned, and we talked about the technology improvements. So much of it is how do we deliver that to the homeowner and the experience that they have, and the technology tool sets that we use for people that say, gosh, I'm burned out of the same job I've been doing forever. I want to do something more meaningful. I think that mindset has to be going on with a lot of people's minds, and you see more and more the environmental destruction of what we're doing to continue to things of old, and to be able, what Powur is able to do at both levels, either be on the front end, sales and development, and the most important thing is just spreading the word and getting a customer to at least entertain the idea, and not think that, because there are bad actors in every industry, or there are snake oil people in every industry, right? Because solar is not immune to that. People don't want to jump in and get a quick buck and say anything or whatever. But what Powur has is it allows someone that has relationships, or you're in real estate, or you're a contractor, you're a roofer, whatever, and just home services. You touch homeowners, you touch people, you can be part of this transition. You can be part of the solution. And you don't have to become a solar pro like you or me or whatever, just talking about, hey, have you thought about solar, getting an electricity bill and bringing it to a pro is something that it is so dang simple. The Powur has made it so that anybody can really join and be part of this, to learn it, go as deep as they want to learn to become a pro. I mean, you self-taught yourself.
I am so stoked that I get to help people getting into the industry that I recruit all over the country. I'm helping someone in Massachusetts now with 5 different properties, and helping someone else, just everywhere, helping people out. And when I here, I who has this beautiful property on the Big Island, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have Ryan be my mentor here, because he knows so much about what's going on locally here and have a great solution. And at the end of the day, every single person I talk to, I act as if it's my house. How would I do it for myself?
Me too.
What's the best possible program I could do for that person that's going to solve their needs? And it's fun. It's kind of like a puzzle. We're figuring it out. We're figuring out what they do, what they want to do. How can they use their house in a manner that they want to? So they're not trying to, turn everything off every single day so that they don't use the things that they want because energy is so expensive.
That's right.
I want people to use their house that they want, live the way they want to live, and then have it all covered. And it's just getting easier and easier. Just in the last week, there was some new products in the storage world that are actually going to reduce the cost again, and not in an insignificant amount. Maybe another 10% of the whole project cost.
Yeah. And just like that, in one innovation on the batteries.
And as soon as that happens with the other manufacturers as well. So, we're in a good place. And, this podcast is really about education. I just want people to work on doing better. And a lot of times we talk about how could we be more sustainable? How can I not use single-use plastic, things like that? But then, how can you be regenerative? How can you create your own energy and store it so that you don't have any impact on the planet? It's like, how can you do things that are better than they were when you got there, and that's one of the big promises of solar. We can provide the energy so that people can have access to the internet or AI or whatever. We can provide energy so that people can pump water to places that they need it. Right. We can supply the energy so that, you can keep your lights on at your house. It's pretty freaking incredible. And, I can sit here and talk to Ryan all day. One of the things in Hawaii, when the wind comes up, it comes up. So it's not raining anymore, but if we wanted to, we could be moving. It's going. But I just want to say I truly appreciate you. It's been great getting to know you. I'm looking forward to the project we're working on together.
Let's talk on that just real quick, and we'll hone in on that, just because homeowners think about this as a home. Like, if we think about this, is a large size home, they have a well pump, and we're going to be able to power that well pump. So even if the grid went down, they'll have water at their house, right? The installation now, like at my house, like the EV charging comes directly off the solar now. So if the grid went out and the gas pumps aren't pumping gas, everything's made, you have electricity to charge your EV at home, even if the grid is out. Like, you truly can be self-sufficient. And then, the advancement too, if you think about utility scale solar in agrivoltaics, growing food within the generation of power too. They don't have to compete farmlands with energy too. So it truly can be the solution for harmony. So I think that's just it. We're at a place. There's obviously challenges, but the innovation continues. If you're a scientist or you are thinking about, hey, maybe a change to help advance this technology, please find a way to get in. And if you touch homeowners or just people in your business, there's a way to be involved.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to include Ryan's info if you're here in Hawaii and you are thinking about solar. Definitely one of the smartest resources I've ever met so far. We'll include that info. But really, the thing I want to say is I just appreciate the environmental heroes like yourself that stood up to build a career in a way to make the planet a better place for our children. You have 2 girls, right?
I do. They're young, and nothing brings me more joy than hearing my youngest is 4, oldest is 7. So they're still very, when they recognize solar panels and say, "Daddy, look, your solar panels," and we're having these conversations where they're not even 10. It truly gives hope of a future generation,
100%.
right? And that is ultimately what we're doing to hopefully not make it, leave this planet the best we can in our little spot, and yeah,
Absolutely.
truly
I
great.
love it.
It's
Thank
great.
you so much.
And thank you for bearing with us during the wind and rain. Hopefully this all comes out, but appreciate you all, and I will see you next week.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Going Deeper with David Steele. I hope you found inspiration and insight to fuel your passion for a better world. Remember, change starts with us, and together we can be the driving force for a brighter, more sustainable future. So until next week, keep your hearts open, your minds curious, and your actions aligned with the planet's well-being. Stay committed, stay conscious, and let's meet right back here next time for another deep dive into making a difference.